All right, so recording has started. I'll start sharing my screen. And I've started a blank presentation. All right, tutorials. We'll answer as much as questions as we can. So I'll start with the first question. Write function in bracket dice that is a random or represents a dice once. Okay, it's easy, very easy. Now I want you to write a function. The name of the function is dice. This function is just like throwing dice once. Okay, so how to do this? First of all, I will define the function dice. What parameters shall I pass? Nothing. And then no parameters, because it will return the result of throwing a dice, and it will return an integer number, right? The integer between 0 and 6, right? Not 0, 1 and 6. Okay, so here inside you need to define integer x, for example, equals 1 plus random mod 6. Okay, see, usually when you get the limit between 0 and 6, you use this as the first one, and the last number is this one. Okay, so let's do it. Let's write it and see. And of course, we will use this function in the main program. All right. I'll start here. I hope you can see it now. All right, then what function should or what library should I call? I'll call include cstdlib, or stdlib, sorry. Right? Why I want this? Because stdlib, or yeah, cstdlib, because I want to use the random generator. Without this, I will not get random. Using namespaces, all right, and then here I will define the function dice. I'll make it like this, and of course you need to think of the return value, which is integer. Okay, and here we will write integer x or whatever equal rand of. If I left it like this, then to return any random value, but here 1 plus rand mod 6, as we discussed why we need this. Now let's use this function. Okay, that's it. This is the required function. Okay, let's use this function. Cout first throw dice. That's it. Okay, then I'll try 2 or 3 times, and then we can use a loop. Second and third. Okay, see, I'm calling the same function, but I was or it's supposed to get different values, because every time it will generate different value, different random value. So let's run it. With warning. Why I have warning here? Because here I don't have any return X. Okay, now it should work properly. Yeah, successfully run. Start debugging, and then all right. So the first time I got 6, the second time I got 6, the third time I got 5. By the way, just because I didn't put a end line. Now let's execute it once again. Okay, so this is what I got: 6, 6, and 5. Again, I'm telling you, and we discussed this before, this is not a perfect random generator because it's predictable. That means I can predict this. But this is what we have now in C++. If you want to use another random generator, then there are some other functions which generate better values. Now, please switch your microphone off. Okay. Now I'm going to let's develop a game. Let's first I will share this with you. Okay. This is the answer of the first question. Only this what I want. This is the answer that I want from you. Okay. Now develop a game which the player draw 2 dices and the 2 players, let's say, game in which players draw 2 dices and the winner who gets the highest, all right, or the highest value. Now that means, see, I have this function. Now I want to develop a game or to design a game that every player will throw the dice, two dices. What's the meaning of throwing 2 dices? That means throw the dice twice, right? And that means calling the function dice 2 times, right? This is the first player. The second player, this is P1, all right? P2 will also throw the dice twice, and we will see the sum. This one plus this one, and see the result. If R or P1 is larger than P2, then P1 is the winner. Otherwise, P2 is the winner. All right. So the idea is clear now. Let's try to write this program after we thought about it. Here, I don't need to do anything. I have the dice is very well defined and it can be used directly. So here I will define integer P1 equals, okay, dice plus, right? Of course, by the way, P1 will be the winner because, as I told you, it's predictable. P1 will get 6 and 6, so I'll get 12. All right, integer P2 equals dice plus dice. Every time I call dice, I got different value. Dice here a function. Okay, so in this case, P1 through the dice twice, P2 through the dice twice. Now I have to see who is the winner. If 1 greater than P2, out 1 wins. Else, see out 2 wins. All right. Okay, let's run it and see. Okay, so as I told you, player 1 wins because it's clear. As I told you, it's predictable. It means we can predict that the first throw will give me 6, the second 6, the third 5, and so on. But you can change the conditions here. So let's just share this with you first. Okay. Let's think of another way. Use or write a program that through a dice continuously. See, I'm applying all the principles on a simple example. Continuously and stops when let's also make it 2 dices. Continuous and stops when the sum of the 2 dices is 7. All right, so this is different. In this case, in this case, I should have a loop. One player or the program itself keep throwing dice and print the value continuously until I get the sum of the 2 dices is 7. So that means while, right? You can use different ways. For example, if I put the dice D equals dice 1 plus dice 2, all right? Then while D not equals 7, all right? Then do this. But here again, see what I'll do here is I don't first I threw the dices, then I built the condition according to the result. Then here also I have to repeat the same thing. Then dice 1 dice plus dice. All right, and continue. Of course, if you want to count how many times it took you to get 7, then you can define a counter integer CNT equals 0, and every time you throw the dice, you say CNT plus plus. All right. This is the first way. The second way is to use infinite loop while through. Okay. D equal dice 1 dice plus dice, because 2 times. Okay, now here if D equals 7, break. I prefer the second way because it's easier and more direct. And of course, if you want to put a counter, then CNT equals 0, and here CNT plus plus. All right. See, there's a problem here. Because CNT equals 0, CNT should start from 1. Why? Because I already threw the dice once, correct? So let's implement the second solution. And in this case, in the main function, here while, first let me define integer, CNT equals 0. Okay, while true, that means infinite loop, all right? Then what I'll do here, d equals integer, d equals dice plus dice. See how I develop or I design the questions? The same idea. I have simple idea, but now I'm trying to playing with the utilization of this function. Okay. If d equals 7, then break. Okay. And also here CNT equal, every time I throw the dice I have to count to increase the counter by 1. Okay, at the end I want to see how many times we threw the dice till we get this. See out, you throw the dice, CNT. Right. Let's see now why we have error here. We don't have error. All right, then let's start it. Okay, so here what we got, you threw the dice 12 times. Okay, that means I had to throw the dice 12 times to get the sum of the two dices 7. All right, now you can develop any other, you can think of any way to utilize this idea to develop new games. Now I'll go away from the dice, but first I think it's enough talking about dice. Let me just reduce the size of text. Okay, now another question. Or example, write a function that returns a value between 7 and 19, a random value. 7 and 19. Yes.
كويز يكون يوم الأحد؟
الأحد إن شاء الله.
إن شاء الله.
All right. Okay. Or let's make it between 5 and 12 or 10, just to make it a little bit easier. So I want now to develop function, the same function like the dice, but here the dice was returning from 1 to 6, right? So here I have 5 to 10. That means I will start from 5, but 10 minus 5, if you, I will go back to the dice. We've started from 1 to 6, right? But actually the value was from 0 to 5. So how we found this? We consider that 6 minus 1 equals 5. So the best way to use or the best value to use the mod operation is 6, because 6 will produce maximum number of 5. So here also 5, see how I will do it. 10 minus 5 equals 5. So the maximum value should be 5. If the maximum value should be 5, then the mode should be 6, right? Because mode 6 will produce maximum number, which is equal to 5. So let's start or let's do it from 5 to x, for example, 5 plus x mod 6. Now you will ask me again, I'll repeat it again. How did we find this? Let's do it now and see how to, we'll try to find an equation. All right, so the same thing here. I'll call it R, the function is R. 5 plus random of R. So here I'll return like, let's try return 5 values for integer I equals 0, I less than 5, I plus plus, and every time C out R. Now I don't use dice because dice means from 1 to 6, all right? ENDL. So let's see the values. Okay, so if you can see here, 10, 10, 9, 9, 10, etc. If I want to have more, let's say 10 values, you can see here 10, 10, 9, 9, 10, 9, 5, 5, etc. So that means every time I call the function, I get a random value between 5 and 10. How did we find this? I will give you a simple equation, sorry. I'll just share this with you. Now this is from 5 to 10. Then you will say x equals, you will take the first one, 5, okay, plus, or the returned value, yes, rand mod. Now mod what? This value, you can find it from here, from 10 minus 5 plus 1. So 10 minus 5, 5 plus 1 equals 6. Let's try another example. Okay, remember this. You don't need to get lost or get confused. Remember this, how we found this. Let's try another way, another example. Function returns random value between, give me any number, 7 and 25. All right, so what I'll do here, x is equal to, let me just delete this, it will be very annoying. So x is equal to 7 plus rand mod. Now this is the 1. What's the value here? 25 minus 7 plus 1. 25 minus 7, 18, right? 18 plus 1 equal 19. Okay, so mod 19. Not 19, yes, 19. Okay, so let's try it and see x from 7 here instead of 5. I'll put 7 and random 19. Okay, so this is what I got. 10, 25, 14, 21, 24, 18, 9, 10, 8, etc. So no number less than 7 and no number greater than 20. What is it? 25. So also I'll share this with you and we'll go to another way or another kind of questions. Write a function or a program because that generates OTP. What's the OTP? Anybody can tell me? OTP. Of 4 digits. Come on, I'm waiting for you if you are still awake. OTP, what's the meaning of OTP? Yes?
One-time password?
One-time PIN or one-time password? Yes, correct. Thank you very much. So one-time PIN or one-time password is usually used when you register in a website. Even Google now is using it in the bank. When you are paying, when you have some transactions, online payment transactions, the bank sends you an OTP. That means OTP means I want 4 digits, okay, but every time I got different 4 digits. For example, the first time I get 1703, the second time I get something unpredictable. All right, although this is one of the things that I told you. The random generator that we are working on is not good, is not the best one. There are a lot of random generators that we can you can study. It's not our concern now, but just to give you an idea, okay? Because every time I send or I ask for a random, it will start from 665, so it's very predictable. This is an issue with it, but let's work with the basic random generator. So now here, that means I should, and by the way, this number should be what? From 0 to 9, right? Because it's a digit. 0 to 9, that means I don't need to put x equals 0 plus rand of mod 10. No need for the 0 plus. So random mod 10 will give me a digit, right? So in this case, I will try and I will call the function 4 times, and I will consider this as the UTP. Okay, but let's see. I have to change this. Okay, I have to change this to call it, keep it R. So here, rand mod 10. Okay. So I'll define P1 equals the first number is rand or R integer P2 equals R again P3 equals R and integer P4 equals R. The pin the OTP is P1, P2, P3, and P4 end line. All right, so this is the way. By the way, I want you to think now. I can replace this with something common that we discussed. We discussed it before 2 lectures, right? We can replace this with an array, right? Instead of having this number of variables, we can use array. We will use it. Okay, then let's run it. So the first OTP is 1704. 40. Okay. Now if I run it again, let's see if I'll get the same code. Yeah, 1740 is the same. What if I want to have like 3 times 4 or 5 pins? Okay, for integer I equals 0, I less than 5, I plus plus. Okay, and I will do the same process 5 times. Let's see what pins we will get. Now 1740, 9488, 245, etc. So these are the 5 pins that we generated or OTPs that we generated. All right, now I think it's I'll share this with you, and then we will do some modification. This is the answer. Okay, now if you can see here, I have the same type of the variables, all right, and almost they do the same thing, and they can be used as the same or in the same way. So in this case, it's better to convert these into array. Instead of having P1, P2, P3, P4, I'll be having P of 4 equals, of course, I will add this. So the next question is, modify the previous question or question, yeah, the answer of the previous question by or using arrays. Okay. Again, this is the way the questions will, or the way I'm thinking when I design a question. I think it's off better. Okay, so here what I'll do here, I will first declare integer P of 4 without anything. Next, for integer I equals 0, I less than 4, because I want 1, 2, 3, 4, but actually I will use 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay, then I plus plus P of I equals, now I call the function R capital, right? That's it. I'll print it here. Again, here I'm printing the result. Okay, so instead of writing integer p of etc., all what I'll do here is the OTP is okay. I'll print it directly. Print cout of I. So let's run it. This is only one OTP. Okay, so this was what we got, 1740. Let me just put here. After this, I put cout NDL. This is just to have, and at the top here also, or put cout the OTP is okay. So the OTP is, then I'll print the values and then a new line. Okay. Okay, so the OTP is 1740. What if I want to have more OTPs? That means the entire process here should be, I can put it inside another loop. So no need to make it more complicated. So this is what we got for now. Okay. Finally, let me just answer the question that I've given to you yesterday or last lecture. It was, let me just see it. Okay, this was the question. Write a program that reads the real numbers and find the result of the equation to. So all what we do here, I'll also copy it to the tutorial. So I'll add a new slide. Right. So the answer is, first of all, I need to call or to include the CMath. Right. So here, I don't want cstdlib anymore. So include CMath. Yeah. And here I don't want a function. Okay. what I'll do is to define y and x for any x value. So here, double x and y, C out, enter the value of x, okay, and Cn x. Now I need to find y equals. See how to do it. As I told you, there's nothing called 2x and 2y, right? So you have to use what? This is a function. Let me just choose the size, okay. Okay, so here I have y equals 2x to the power 1.3. I don't have 2x, I have 2 times x, but x also to the power 1.3. I have to use POW of x comma 1.3, correct? Then plus, what else we have? 4 sine 3x plus 4. I don't have 4 sine, I have 4 times sine 3 times x. You have to be very careful with this. Minus, also I don't have 7x, I have 7 times that's it. Okay, and see out y equals, or y small I, y end line. Right, so let's run it. Enter the value of x, let's say 6.5 or 6.7. Then the value or y is equal minus 19 point something. Okay, I'll share this with you, but before sharing this, we can convert it to a function, by the way. First, let me share this, and then we will do some. You can define y as a function. How to define this? I will define here y of double x, okay? And here you need to remove this one, or to take this one, x. I'll define double r equals, use directly return, and here return r. So in this case, enter the value of x, see out y equal y of x. All right, because now it's a function here. I want to remove this. I should remove this. Okay, the value of y is equal y of x. Now, when I call y of x, it will go there. It will pass the value of x to the function and calculate the evaluate the equation and send the result back to the function, and we'll use it. So let's run it. All right, so again, 6.7. So the result is minus 19 something. Okay, also this is another way to solve the equation. If I didn't ask you in the exam to use the function, no need to use it. if I specify or specifically said using function, then you have to define the function. There will be more. Let me just share this with you, and there will be more discussion in the next lectures. But I want you also to implement this, to study them carefully, and if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. Okay, now the discussion is open. This is called 09 tutorial. It's already now I just uploaded. Yes. Okay. All right. So if you have any questions, please ask. Let me just stop. Any questions? Well, I think
No,
that's all for
Mister.
today. Yes, thank you very much. All right. Thank you very much. I'll see you next lecture. Please be ready. Okay, study. And remember that, let me just stop recording.